to me, the most important thing is the film, right? The film's your resume. So what are you putting on tape? If you're not putting good stuff on tape, you're not going to have a chance.
Yeah.
You can go light up these camps and all that stuff, but if you're not doing it with pads on, it's a little bit different.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Athlete Country Club, where we believe it's not only our duty, but our mission to become the best version of ourselves. Super excited about our guest today, Blair Cavanaugh. He's lived every level of this game, really. Today he's breaking down what really matters in recruiting and just how to level up your football IQ and why being coachable is really still, I'd say, one of the most important skills. Blair, appreciate you taking some time, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Marcus, it's an honor to be on your podcast. I just want to say this, too. One of the best teammates right here, one of the greatest people, and probably threw the most catchable ball as a wideout, which is you appreciate as a wideout.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I definitely wanted to take some time to just kind of give you your flowers, bro, because I know I was thinking about it as I was kind of getting ready for the podcast. It's like, okay, it's not always the guys that have the glitz and the glamour doing all this stuff, but obviously hindsight's 2020. Like, looking back, I'm like, man, did Blair ever have a bad day, dude? It's like every day you kind of just brought it. And I know you had bad days because I had bad days as a quarterback, and every single player who plays college athletics, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but man, I just respect the heck out of you, bro, for just your grit and work ethic and everything you brought. I think it's something I definitely stole, just kind of seeing some of the older guys as you come in as a freshman. You could kind of see like, hey, that guy works his tail off. That guy's just super athletic, but he's really not that hard of a worker, So you're kind of picking guys out. And you're always one of those guys that's like, man, I want to kind of emulate my game and work ethic after kind of what you're doing. So definitely respect you a ton for that, brother.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, just kind of on that kind of note, as far as just college football not always being sunshine and rainbows, kind of talk about that. As a freshman incoming, obviously you've experienced it as a player yourself at Oregon State, but now on the coaching side of it, what are kind of expectations for incoming freshmen? Because I know something that was kind of threw me for a loop that wasn't huge in high school, because I went to a small high school, but was just the whole scout team era. That was a tough pill for me to swallow when I first got to school.
Yeah, I think you gotta, put your head down and just work when you get in somewhere. That's the biggest thing. And then, like you said, a lot of the times is you're playing on scout team when you first get in. Like I remember you and me lighting it up on scout team. Our first year there, and you could look at it one of two ways, right? Where it's like, I have to play scout team, but then, or you could also look at it like, no, I get to play against the starting defense right now, and I could develop myself and get better. And if you go in it with that mindset, I think it'll help you grow as an athlete. As whereas if I have to go play scout team, then you're not really going to reach your full potential with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just from your perspective too, obviously it's the defensive side you're looking at, but as a running backs coach, how are you guys always evaluating the scout team? Because you're not just out there as a body. You are getting reps and you're doing things, but you're constantly getting evaluated. What does that look like from a coach's perspective from your end?
Oh, I think, and as a special teams coordinator, I'm watching everyone. I want to see how the running backs move, how the linebackers move, safeties, so on and so forth. So to me, that's a huge evaluation piece, even if you're just playing scout special teams. But if someone might catch your eye, we're like, okay, this guy could help us out here. But going back to your question, running back wise, I'll ask the linebacker coach and the defensive guys, hey, how's so-and-so doing? You know what I mean? So we're always keeping evals on kids, and then they do the same vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you don't talk. You guys we're in a constant communication with it. How's the young running back doing? Or hey, how's this young linebacker doing? And you're going to give honest feedback too. Hey, he's doing good, right? Because it's our job to play the best players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And get the most out of them. So I think that constant communication is key.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I know development's huge. Especially once you get there, I think my biggest realization when I got to college, it's like, hey, most guys are studs wherever they came from, especially at the Division I level. You were probably the guy in your town, and that's kind of the hardest pill to swallow. I felt for me when I got to college. I know just thinking about, it's like, man, you're 17, 18 years old. Some of these guys are 22, 23 years old. Like, they're just naturally going to be bigger, stronger, faster. They have more time in it. But I mean, just kind of specifically talking to high school athletes right now, what could they do to kind of better prepare themselves for, I mean, that first fall camp? Because I know that was a smack in the head for me when I experienced my first fall camp.
Yeah, I think just getting with your strength coach before you get in there. Hopefully, they give you a pamphlet of you know running, what specific sprints and conditioning you have to do, and weight training wise, and that usually helps. Um, you know the bridge as you get into fall camp, and then now too is guys are coming in earlier and earlier, or they'll be there the whole summer,
Right.
so they kind of get a taste of it with the PRPs and all that. So I think student athletes now are at more of an advantage than when you and I played, when you just got thrown into fall camp. Now they have a little bit of summer to get in there where they could get a taste of it, where it's not bullets flying everywhere when you get in there and your head's spinning. So I think it's a different day and age now where you get opportunity to you know have an easier transition as you get in there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously, I know you were at just at Incarnate Word, you're at Ball State prior, and then being at Ohio now. I know you've been there for 5 short weeks, but just kind of talk about just what that schedule's like for high school athletes, kind of the expectation level. Because obviously, I mean, in high school, I mean, you're going to school from 8 to 3, and I mean, really, maybe you're practicing from 3:30 to 5:30, 6 o'clock. Kind of talk about just schedule regimen, and then if there was a difference between maybe Incarnate Word and Ohio that you've already seen, whether that's just something as simple as practicing in the morning, practicing in the evening. I know that was something I found out, and I'm sure it may have been different between Oregon State and Portland State for you as well, just how programs are ran differently.
The like you said, the first differences between UIW and Ohio. Incarnate Word, we were morning practice team, and then Ohio, we're afternoon practice team. So that'll look different. Whereas now, like our student athletes will go to class in the morning and then lift, and then we'll have meetings, then practice, and then so on and so forth. So you kind of have the morning to be a normal student, and then afternoons all ball, and you have an afternoon class or a night class after the fact. But it's a full day between how it is going to class, then you got meetings, you got to eat, lift, being in the training room, taking care of your body, practice. And then, I would say most guys will be in the training room after practice, taking care of their bodies, ice baths, all that stuff. And then, you got study hall on top of that. So it's a lot to balance, but I think it's great because you got to be regimented in your schedule, and it kind of keeps you on task as a whole, which I think that's the beautiful thing about being a student athlete.
No, for sure. And I know kind of just a more lighthearted conversation on that. I remember being a freshman and even my sophomore year, just always going in the training room and just making fun of the old guys. Like, you're so old. Why are you always in here, dude? Every single day. And they're like, hey, young fella, we're being proactive versus reactive and kind of just letting me know. But it's like, you're young, you're stretched, you don't know anything. And then sure enough, your junior, senior year roll around. You're in there every single day, every hour. And kind of just talk about that. I mean, just really, if you're just going through the motions and doing what's required, it's kind of hard to project a lot of success in your future, I'd imagine, especially at the college level.
Yeah, I think there's some guys that could get by that doing it, but the vast majority you have to put in the extra work, whether it's film study or extra recovery or throwing extra. If I'm an O lineman, I'm working on my footwork and hand striking and different stuff like that. But I think you always got to be doing extra to gain an advantage. And I think as a competitor too, in the back of your mind, at least I know for you and you're like, oh, I know someone's working right now. Like I better be doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? To separate yourself. And I kind of challenge our guys in our room here. I'm like, yeah, you're competing against the guys on the team here, but you're competing against other schools in the MAC. You're competing against other schools in the country. You got to have that in the back of your mind when you're training and you wake up and you're attacking the day. You can't just be complacent training against the guys here. You got to make it competitive against all those other cats because they're putting in the work too.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge. I think obviously you got to kind of have your own self-driven motor and being intrinsically motivated. I think what helped me so much with my success is I had three or four guys. I know whether it was yourself or I'm texting Drew Kell, like you got to have two to three guys around you that when you're ready to work, they're willing to work with you too. So I think that's just having a solid foundation of people around you. I think that's huge. And even rewinding back to high school, I had that around me. You don't need a full football team out there to get some work in. I mean, you just need two to three guys and kind of touch on that. I'm kind of interested to hear your perspective. Being in the coaching game, I mean, your dad's a longtime coach. I mean, you guys just have a family tree of coaching history. What would be your advice for some athletes that are wanting to develop themselves as far as just going out and practicing things? You could even talk to receiver specific, running back specific. I mean, what are some things they could be doing to develop themselves? And I guess to kind of give a little context why I'm asking that is you kind of fall into the whole social media kind of aspect of doing cool ladder drills and this and that, but it's like, hey man, let's just work on stuff that we're actually going to apply.
Yeah, I think all that, the social media stuff, it looks sweet and stuff, but you should be doing something position specific to make yourself better, whether it's, top of your routes, or if you're a quarterback working on different throwing angles and stuff like that. Or like we said earlier, for O lineman, leverage drill, just little stuff that's going to help you benefit to gain that advantage, like you said.
Right.
Now, like with that being said, some of the movement stuff on Instagrams and Twitter is good. It's not all bad,
Yeah.
right? But like you don't want to just post something because it looks sweet. You got to have a purpose and intent to get better when you're training. No
Yeah.
matter what that is, you shouldn't just be doing it because it looks cool. If it has a purpose to enhance your game, then yes, do it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is you don't want to overtrain, and like looking back on it too is you need to take care of your body and recover. You're not going to feel great if you're just pushing yourself to the limit every day. And then you won't be able to go out there and produce the next day too. So I think taking time to recover and work on yourself, whether it's yoga, ice baths,
Yeah.
whatever helps your body. Everyone's different, right? Massages, whatever helps your body recover, I would do that too. And
Yeah.
then eating, sleep, hydrate, the big ones, you know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
Staying on top of that, and then starting to work on nutrition is a big one too. As you know, as you go to the next level with training table and all that stuff, they got you on a pretty regimented diet, whether you got to gain weight, lose weight, whatever. I think if you could start to implement that as a high schooler, that would definitely give you an advantage as well.
Yeah, no, I know you remember going into training table and you have either you're a green guy, you got to put on weight, yellow, you're maintain, red,
Yeah,
okay, you're dropping, and they're looking at how much food you're putting on your plate.
I
Yeah.
remember they were like, I think I was a weight gain, and they had you eaten like a whole plate of broccoli and
Man,
then
dude,
food on
it's
top of that for
unreal.
breakfast.
Yeah, I remember walking in and talking with Stacy, to our nutritionist, when we were at Oregon State. I'm like, this is not humane. I said nobody should be eating this much broccoli or this much, like literally an entire plate of just vegetables. I'm like, I'm eating this in a one sitting. Are you
Yeah.
kidding?
But you saw your body change and
No,
you
for
felt
sure.
better. So obviously
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah, no, and I think just kind of all those perks too. I think that's just an untapped kind of thing that people don't realize. Like, man, like, is it a grind to go Division One? Is it a grind to make it to a MAC school or Pac-12 or any level of Division One? Yeah, it's a grind to get there, but just man, kind of talk about just like the perks and benefits from high school to a Division One school, like what you're getting, just facility wise and nutritionists and just everything that's included.
Yeah, I think there's definitely perks and benefits to doing it. You're going to get, first of all, you're going to get a great education, which is first and foremost the most important thing, that you get that degree. Yeah, the facilities are great. You'll have training table, all that stuff. But just not letting it surprise you when you get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
it's it's just kind of part of the everyday deal.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think just kind of talk about that. I mean, obviously, there's not a huge percentage of high school athletes that get to experience that Division One level, or honestly, even just take Division One out of it, just college in general. I know it's less than 10% that play at any level in college. So, first of all, if you have any opportunity to play in college, whether that's junior college, Division One, two, or three, I mean, that's something to be proud of and hang your hat on because you're a small percentage of the athlete population. But just kind of on that, I mean, what are some of the resources that coaches are actively using to find players right now? I mean, are you talking, I mean, Twitter and social media or emails directly from players? Are you guys leaning on high school referrals from coaches when you guys are out on the road recruiting? I mean, just rank some of those. I mean, as far as how
To me,
often you're using them.
to me, the most important thing is talking to the high school coach and getting in the school and asking that coach how that kid is. You know what I mean? That's the guy that coached him for the past couple years. So that reference and or referral, however you want to phrase it, is probably the most important one, because they're gonna shoot you straight, right? And it's the same thing for us with NFL scouts. If they don't shoot you straight, right, then they're not going to trust your word with it. So that's probably the most important one, is doing a good job at your high school and doing a great job for your high school coach. And then talking when you're in the schools, you know what I mean, talking to the janitor, or talking to teachers, or the secretary at the front desk. Hey, how's Marcus as a kid? You know what I mean? You could learn a lot of information through that, just talking to people. Oh, he's a great kid, you know,
Mhm.
very, very, very down to earth. Yes, sir. No, sir. Or you get on the other end, like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
kind of a turd. Um, but I think that's the biggest thing. Twitter's a big one. Um, that is a good resource to use. Instagram's starting to be a bigger one. Obviously, the emails and all that are big as well, but that'd probably be the order that I would rank it in,
Yeah.
specifically for myself. And then, referrals from other people that you know, where like, whether it's people in California and you're like, hey, check this dude out, or I got Oregon ties, people in Oregon sending me guys, or Texas ties, people sending me guys that you played with, or that you know, or coaches that you built a relationship with,
Yeah.
um, is a big one. And then a lot of times too is when you go to a school, coaches will say, "Hey, check out this kid at another school. I think he's a good player." And then
Right.
that'll put him on your radar as well too.
Yeah. No, for sure. And obviously, I mean, you've been in the coaching game for a little bit. I mean, when you go to, I mean, let me rephrase this a little bit. What's the last camp you attended as a position coach, recruiting coach? And I mean, like, what did those athletes do to stand out? And can you kind of elaborate, like, what they did specifically to stand out at a camp? 'Cause I mean, some of these camps, you have hundreds of kids. So it's like, you kind of hear the little tips and tricks. I used to wear like bright colored socks or like random shoes and like little stuff like that. So if you were performing well, they could say, "Hey, that kid with the yellow arm sleeve is pretty good." But
Yeah.
what are some things you could do as an athlete to separate yourself from the hundreds of kids at these big camps?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just doing a doing a good
Yeah.
job, which sounds cliche, but you're watching movement wise and all that stuff. Oh, like this kid moves well. He's different. All right, let me see him now when he gets into the position drills. How does he move? All right, how specifically running back wise? How's his ball security? How's his lateral directions? Does he have some burst? Does he can he bend it? Can he bend? You know what I mean? Is he going to be running straight up? Different stuff like that. Now, like, I remember the same thing with the bright colors and stuff. Most places have jerseys or
Yeah.
different stuff like that where you could recognize the kids now. Because now I'll be like, oh, why is this kid wearing
Yeah.
whatever, neon yellow or
Yeah.
pink? You know what I mean? But to each their own. But I think just doing a great job
Yeah.
being where you're at.
No,
You
I
know,
think that's such an underrated thing. And it's like I almost feel bad when I tell parents when they're asking me like, "Man, what can we do to get recruited, or how do I get a scholarship offer?" And I'm like, dude, go be the best one in your city, go be the best
yeah,
one in your state, and like they'll find you. I mean,
yeah,
just kind of touch on that to where I feel like I've almost had to let kids know like you're not being slept on, and obviously you say it in a respectful way, but it's like, hey, like maybe if you just improve and put numbers up, they'll find you. I mean, just with
yeah,
all the resources you guys have as coaches now,
right.
I mean, is it fair to say that if you're putting up numbers and you're producing that, you'll find you at some point?
Yeah, I think to me the most important thing is the film, right? The film's your resume. So what are you putting on tape? If you're not putting good stuff on tape, you're not going to have a chance.
Yeah.
You can go light up these camps and all that stuff, but as you and I know, if you're not doing it with pads on, it's a little bit different. 7-on-7 is a little different catching a ball, knowing you're not going to get hit over the middle than catching a ball in a game where you're going to get lit up. So putting good stuff on film, what I mean,
Yeah.
is the most important thing, and that'll get you recognized and recruited. And then obviously being a good teammate, right, and being coachable is another huge aspect there. Is
Yeah.
how I'd phrase it.
No, for sure. And I think just dive into that a little bit more because I think there's sometimes a misconception going around in the recruiting game that a kid got offered just because he went to a 7-on-7 tournament and he did well. Where I kind of know the real reason is there's probably a little bit of tape evaluation, a little prior history that might have came from it, but then that 7-on-7 may have been the cherry on top. So we kind of talk about that as far as just in-person evals in comparison to game film. I don't think you could just have one. I think you kind of marry the two together.
I think you for sure need to see them both. Obviously, the tape is where you start watching them, and they'll catch your eye, and then you get them on campus or you see them at a camp, and then get to see them move in person, like you said. And that's that. A lot of times that ends up being the icing on the cake, or not icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It could go both ways, but I think that's the last resource that you need is seeing a live eval on 'em to see them move. I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, no, and I think you said it in the beginning of it. I think there's a big difference, especially at the quarterback position. You got guys who have just strong arms, but if Coach Cav's running a slant, bro, you don't have to show me how strong your arm is, dude. Like throw him a nice catchable ball, let him
Yeah.
catch it. So just I think that how much of that are you guys kind of evaluating as far as just like football IQ, general football IQ, and when does that start? Because I know, like, if I wanted to attend Ohio University and I'm a running back and I'm going, and Coach Cav's there, how soon? And we have a relationship. How soon does that evaluation process start when the day starts?
It starts quick, and then specifically for what we do is we need smart, tough guys. That's our culture here at OU. Especially offensively with what we do, you have to be able to process and you have to be able to think. So that's a big deal. And after you watch them move evaluation wise, you might ask them or install play with them, and then make them regurgitate it and say it back to you. And if they can't process it and say it back, you're like, this guy might not be our guy. Or boom, they repeat it back, and they're like, all right, that's our type of guy right there that we need.
Talk about that too. I mean, not even when they come to visit you guys, but maybe when you're going to visit a player. I mean, what are some questions? Obviously, you're talking to the surrounding cast. I mean, the janitors, the teachers, the water girl, the trainer, kind of see their character build. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the nuts and bolts of football and you're actually meeting with the athlete, what does that kind of look like once they're sitting down in front of you? And like, what are some questions you're typically asking?
A lot of what I'll ask first is how's your grades? What's your GPA? Will be
Yeah.
a big conversation starter that I have. And then, like I said, I'll position specifically. I will install play with them, and then see if they could regurgitate it back to me.
Yeah.
Like, can you remember it? Can you process it? Um, and that'll be a big component of what we do.
And I think that's big. 'Cause I think, what would you say is one of kind of the inhibitors to playing right away? What are some of the things that limit maybe not a freshman, maybe a redshirt freshman who's had a year to develop, he's been in the weight room, he's been around the system. What are some limiting factors that might be self-induced that are preventing guys from having playing time?
I think, like you just said, a lot of them are self-induced, right? Where maybe you're not putting in as much work as you need to be and learning the playbook. If I can't just throw you out there to throw you out there, or it's high school. It's my job to play the best players. If I'm not playing the best guys, I'm not going to have a job very long.
Yeah.
So making sure they develop and know what they're doing.
Yeah. No, 100%. And no, I won't hold you too much longer. I know one of the last questions I like to always kind of end with, and just kind of we'll take the conversation where it goes after this. But I mean, obviously, a ton of great information from just being coachable and regurgitating information and everything in between. Is just, if for whatever reason this whole podcast just got wiped out, we didn't have any of it. What's like one actionable step in the recruiting process to where I'm under recruited, I don't have any scholarship offers? What's something, in your opinion, I could do immediately today to improve my recruiting situation?
I think it comes back, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, putting the best stuff you can on tape, right? That's going to get you recruited the most. And then a lot of kids too are falling in love with I got to go here, I got to go there, I got to go there. Go play, like go where you're wanted. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, P4 sounds great or whatever sounds great. Go somewhere where you wanted, and you're going to play. You don't want to go somewhere just to go there. So I think that'd be the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I think kind of just the last follow-up question I'll ask on that. I mean, you talked about just highlight films and putting it on tape and actually doing it there. And then eventually, if the tape speaks for itself, then you get that opportunity to prove it in person. But kind of just specifically on highlight tapes, if for whatever reason I sent you an email, you just happen to open it, how much time, how quickly can you decipher typically if the guy's got it or not? How much time do you have to watch the full 15-minute highlight to be able to
I'm
know if he's
I'm
good?
not going to watch a 15-minute highlight. Put your best clips right in the beginning. Your best very best clip first. You need something to catch someone's eye. So put your best stuff first. You don't need a 10-minute highlight tape. I'd probably go 5 at the max. The coaches aren't going to watch all 15 minutes of it. All you need is, all right, this guy caught my eye. I could see how he can move. And then I'm going to start watching games on him. You know what I mean? To see how he plays as a whole thing. Obviously, it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows like it is on a highlight tape. So being able to watch full games
Yeah,
after you watch that initial highlight tape. So
yeah,
put your best plays first is my advice with that, and that you don't need to put a bunch of music on and all that stuff. That usually gets muted right away. Just get to the nuts and bolts. Highlight yourself so you know where they're at. It'd be
yep,
a good one. Um, and then maybe have like their jersey number on the huddle link as well, so you could look for that. But have yourself highlighted. Put your best plays first. That'd be my advice with that. Make it personable when you're sending an email. Don't just say, "Hey, coach, I'd love to play at your university." Say, "Hey, coach, blah blah blah. Would love to play at Ohio University." Make it personable in that, and you know, talk to coaches like they're coaches, not like they're your
yeah.
friends as well. Would be my other advice that pops up at times.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And the last thing I'll ask too, as in just I mean, what's from the parent standpoint? Because I would guess a lot of the parents are going to be listening to this podcast as far as just for information and kind of getting everything going. I mean, what's one thing parents should do more of, and maybe what's one thing parents could maybe hold back a little bit on as far as the recruiting process? Because at the end of the day, I mean, you had a very supportive dad helping you in every step of the way. I had very supportive parents help me every step of the way. So obviously, they always have their best interests in mind for their kid. It's like, what could they do a little bit more of, and maybe just step back on and just say, hey, maybe let the kid do it there a little bit.
I think you just hit it on the head. That was as you asked that question, that was the first thing that popped in my mind was support, right? Support your child and help them out as you can and be there for them during this process because it's not
Yeah.
always easy. Um, and then the other thing is you don't want to be overbearing, right? You don't want to be the ones that are the parents reaching out to the coaches.
Yeah.
And I don't think the kids like that either, right? You know what I mean? So I think you how would you phrase it? You don't need to be a helicopter
Yeah.
parent in the recruiting process. Let it happen organically, and
Yeah.
it'll all work out
Yeah.
um, for the best. What was the other thing you said? You had me thinking about one other thing, and I can't remember right now.
As far as maybe what they could be doing to like doubling down on it to help their athletes, like how can I be what does that look like? How do I be a supportive parent to my athlete? Like my son's expressed he wants to go Division 1.
Yeah,
Maybe I've never played Division 1. It's like, man, I don't really know how to help you. Like, what is the
right.
parent's role in the
That
recruit?
might that could look like taking them to camp and driving them there, which is huge and biggest support that you need, right? Like I always tell the kids when they come to camp, like, and it might not be a parent too, right? But I say whoever brought you here, make sure you thank them,
Yeah.
because that's that's a way of showing support, is bringing them there, and
Yeah.
that's a big first step, right?
No, that's huge. And I'll kind of wrap up by saying I don't know if I've ever publicly said this or not, but like I'll forever feel indebted to my dad because he actually took me to a Oregon State camp in Pleasanton on Father's Day, and that was on a Sunday. And then I actually visited Oregon State on Monday, worked out for them Tuesday, and got offered Tuesday after the workout. So it's like, man, looking back on it, it's like if my dad could have easily been like, this is Father's Day, this is my day, we're not going to a football camp. But little did he know, and little did I know, I mean, that camp is where I was going to get my first Power Four, Power Five at the time scholarship offer.
Yeah,
Dominoes were just going to start rolling from there. So I think that's huge.
no, that's spot on. I agree
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Well, shoot, man, Coach Kev, I mean, I appreciate you keeping it real, brother, kind of breaking it down for everyone. I mean, that's what Athlete Country Club's all about. I mean, whether you're a two-star kid in the MAC, dreamer, kind of Division III, I mean, kind of the right habits, just being coachable and kind of having that work ethic is going to get you there. So, appreciate your time, brother. Where can everyone follow you on Twitter? If I want to go to Ohio, I want to go to OU.
Yeah,
How do I follow you on Twitter?
it's Coach Cav 10. Give me a follow there, and then we'll get back to you and send me your tape, and we'll recruit you.
There you go, brother. Appreciate your time, brother.
I appreciate it. Love you, man. I'll talk
Yeah.
to you soon.
Yeah, love you, dog. See ya.
All right.